Hi, and you're listening to Living in the Netherlands. My name's Lerize Weatherhead, and today we're focusing on becoming a first-time mom here in the Netherlands. For this topic, I'm joined by my very, very special colleague, Elzanne.
Hi.
Elzanne, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Yeah, sure. So I am Elzanne. I'm a recruiter at Ieder Oorlogs Globetrotters. We've been living in the Netherlands for 2 years now. And I just had a baby 6 months ago.
I think it's very nice that you're here to share your experience because all of it's still pretty fresh in your memory.
Yeah.
And mine has dulled a little bit. So let's walk our listeners through like the whole process, because I don't know what it's like to go through that process in South Africa, and it might differ quite a lot. So when you first suspected you were pregnant and you did the test, what happened then? What was the steps following that?
Okay, cool. Wow. Sleep deprivation is bad on the memory, right? So if there's dull areas, just work with me here. Okay, so yeah, we suspected I was pregnant. I did a home test, which came back positive, and obviously I wanted to confirm it by blood.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave my doctor's office a ring. I told them that I suspect that I am pregnant. They sent me to have my blood drawn at a blood lab, right? And then we got the result. And yeah, it was happy emotions all around. From there, they told me, the doctor's office told me that I need to find a verloskundige, which is a midwife, basically, if I can translate it roughly. I don't know if that's the correct translation.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nursing or a clinic specifically for
having babies.
Yeah,
yes.
Pregnancies. Yeah.
Yes.
Were you referred to a gynecologist directly, or
no? So I didn't see a gynecologist the whole pregnancy, not once. My main point of contact was the verloskundige. It was amazing. We had regular check-ins. I can go back on my calendar and check, but I think it was once a month for the first few months, and then the last few weeks was every week, if I'm not mistaken.
But did you also have to phone your insurance company and say, "Hey, I am pregnant"?
You know what? I can't really remember how I did that. I just know that they knew that I had a baby. I honestly can't remember. I think what happened was this is what happened. When I just found out I was pregnant, I sent them an email saying, "Hi, I just found out I'm pregnant. Just wanted to let you guys know," and that's it. In terms of what do you call it? Bijbetalings?
Yeah, you had to increase your package. We specifically had to.
I did not.
Oh,
no,
that's cool.
I stayed on my basisverzekering with my add-ons. I didn't have to increase anything, and I didn't pay anything for the whole labor, whole pregnancy. There was no
additional costs.
Eigen risico.
I've got to say it was the same for me, and I also had to. I was in the hospital, I think, from 7 in the morning till 10 in the evening, and I stayed the night, and there were no costs billed to me. It was all covered.
It's amazing, yeah.
It was funny enough. Tip: your insurance company sends you a kraampakket.
But they don't just send it; you need to ask for it.
Oh yeah, but you tell them, okay, this is my uitgerekende datum.
Yeah.
And then they'll send it. They send mine very far in advance.
Mine as well.
The reason is because there's a bunch of stuff in there, because a lot of women actually give birth at home here in the Netherlands. And then the idea is that most of the stuff will be there waiting for the Kraamzorg or the verloskundige to come and help you with the birth.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a lot of medical stuff. Well, not medical stuff, But stuff like
cleaning alcohol,
gloves,
maternity,
yes.
verbanden.
What do you call it? Onderlaggers for in the bed, like like mattress protectors and stuff like that. So it's a lot of handy stuff. But 90% of the stuff in there, I didn't know what it was used for. And because I gave birth in the hospital, I didn't use much of my kraampakket.
No, that's true.
Yes.
It's the same for me, but the verloskundigen, the Kraamzorg, when they came, we'll get to that shortly. Did you make use of some of the stuff, so it doesn't go to waste.
Yes, but there was some stuff that was like just not necessary, like bandages and whatever. Like I didn't need bandages.
Rather have more than two.
Agreed. You never know. I opted for my mantra during the whole pregnancy was my body knows what to do. Now, granted, I'm not sure whether I was really naive, extremely stupid, or just hoping for the best, but I did minimal prep for the birth itself. I was literally like, my body knows what to do, and when the time is right, it'll just do it. Needless to say, 2-3 days before the birth actually occurred, I was shitting bricks because I was I'm not prepared. But I mean, like the Dutch say, het komt wel goed, and it did end well. Yeah. So no.
Okay, but so one of the checkups is one of the important ones is like I think at 16 weeks and then at 20 weeks again.
I don't think you have one at 16 weeks, like a proper echo sonar at like a sonar place. I think it's at 13 weeks.
Is that early already?
Yes, I think you definitely have one at 10 weeks. Then you have another one at 13. Then you have the really big one at 20. Now, before the 20-week scan, or up until the 20-week scan, every time you go to the verloskundige, they also scan you and they have a look at the baby. So what happened in our case was the verloskundige looked at the baby and she was like, I am 99% sure that this is going to be a girl, but don't take my word for it because it needs to be confirmed at the actual sonar.
Oh, did you want to know or not?
Yes, luckily we wanted to know, but I was 100% convinced that we were having a boy. And we kind of we sat with that. And the 20 weeks came and she was like, yes, it's a girl. And we were like, oh, yay. At the end of the day, my main motivation or my main thing was it doesn't matter as long as it's a happy, healthy baby, So 8 weeks, 13, 20.
Okay.
Yeah, they also, right at the start, they asked us, are there any additional circumstances that they should be aware of? Do we have any date? Stuff stresses, like that, extra stresses. What is our support system like? Etc. etc. That being said, one day I had a full meltdown at the verloskundige, cried my eyes out. I can't really remember why. I just know I had a day. And she was super concerned. Meanwhile, it was just proper hormonal. And this poor lady, she didn't know how to handle me. But it was all good at the end.
So closer to the time, you decide if you're going to try home birth or if you want to go to hospital. There are different terms for these. I can't remember exactly what they were. But you also get a service here called Kraamzorg.
Yes.
I fucking love Kraamzorg. It's amazing.
I feel like everyone has a love-hate with Kraamzorg. I think they play two very important roles. In the first few days, they are the main point of contact in terms of baby's health. So they make sure that baby is not too cold, baby is not losing too much weight. Baby is
latching well.
They organize what do you call it? Like gehoortoetsen.
Oh yes, yeah, they did the hearing aid test.
Yes. So they organize all of that.
On the foot.
The heel prick. So they organize all of that. So they, in the first capacity, are the main point of contact between you and the GGD to make sure that first week of baby is, sorted. And then secondly, I think they play a crucial role for people who don't really have a super big support network here. I mean, speaking as an expat myself, I was blessed enough to have my mom-in-law, my sister-in-law, and my brother-in-law in the house when we got back from the hospital. But not everyone is as lucky. And on top of that, mom-in-law's kids are 30 years old, Stuff has changed since then. And they can also not really remember as well. So it's really, you need someone to kind of teach you and show you the ropes the first few days.
Yes. It was very, very important for me. I gave birth in lockdown in COVID.
Oh, wow.
So I couldn't ask anybody else to help. I only had that lady, and she was godsend. She stayed a little longer, and the medical aid covered all of it. I didn't have to pay for any of it. But also another funny thing is that that I'm pretty sure South Africans aren't used to, because this lady comes and treats you in your home. They require you to lift your bed if it's too low. They've got like a certain height it needs to be. So you can rent these lifters, these bed lifters that you have to put underneath the bed, like feet, and raise the bed up. And being that big, it was actually really comfortable to just like
you
slide back,
fall down, you slide onto, slide off. It's great.
So another funny thing that you can look forward to. But the day of, like, when you start getting your cramps, what was that like? What happened?
Okay, so I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, I think. I woke up and I felt my water break. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but I think 2% of all pregnancies come to a conclusion with the water breaking. It's not a common occurrence. And because of that, I didn't know that once your water breaks, you have 24 hours to get the baby out. There's no like 36-hour labors if your water breaks. Baby needs to come out. I went back to sleep. I was not bothered. We checked everything. I let the verloskundige know that my water broke. We did our thing. My pregnancy or my labor progressed super slowly. But that being said, the verloskundige was at our house every 2 to 3 hours to check whether I had dilated, see, the progress, advise on the next steps, give me tips and tricks on how to, make the labor progress faster. So that is the during care. I mean, I did not dilate. At the end of the day, the plan was always to have a birth at the hospital. By 9 o'clock the evening, I hadn't dilated much. Now, if you do the math, there's about 4 or 5 hours before the 24 hours are done. The baby needs to come. I hadn't dilated, so the verloskundige advised that we go to the hospital to have things moved along a little bit. She then went with us to the hospital. I feel like this is important to mention. She didn't just say, okay, cheers, She got in her car. She waited for us. We drove behind her. We drove in like a little convoy. There we went. We parked. She waited for us at the hospital, and we kind of went to the room as a unit, you know. Once we settled in, she kind of did a handover to a medical team. But before she went, she was like, here's one last tip of advice, just trying to make sure that we are comfortable and we feel empowered and whatever. So the verloskundiges play a really important role, she obviously told them, okay, cool, this is the situation. That's when the water broke, etc., etc. And yes, then we had a baby.
Woo! No, but it feels like a slightly anticlimactic after everything's like done. Like, no, I just want to sleep now. Can I sleep? I can sleep.
I mean, you can sleep. I feel like the first week is amazing because baby is so the baby, I didn't know this, right? But they're so lethargic after the birth. It's like they also had a proper workout.
Yeah, it's like trauma all around.
And they sleep like rocks. It's amazing. And then week 2 rolls around.
They've adjusted.
And you don't sleep anymore.
There's nobody here is around to help anymore. Now
Kraamzorg is home. The mother-in-law is gone. Baby is awake. And you're just like, holy shit, what has happened to my life? So when you give birth in the Netherlands, you have 3 pain management options. The first is laughing gas, which is super mild, I've heard, you know. Then you have morphine, and then obviously you have the big boy epidural. I went for morphine, and it was great. It was amazing. I will give birth any day.
I just have trauma to black out the pain. But yeah, I think next time we'll
yes, that is the way to go. Trust.
But okay, so you got home, you had the help from the Kraamzorg for a few days, and you had family support.
Mm-hmm.
What was the big things of that? Making sure that her weight picked up, the vaccines. What were the big
milestones?
Milestones for her.
Okay, so let me think. Yeah, well, the first week was obviously crucial. Baby tended to be a little bit cooler, so she was on the cooler side. Mm-hmm. So we had to make sure she was absolutely well dressed at all times. Obviously, she dropped her weight and picked it up again. We had our first bath with the Kraamzorg. I feel like this is all like, you know, imprinted, super important memories that you kind of cherish. Kraamzorg went, mom-in-law went, and then it was just us. And I'm trying to think, I mean, we obviously had our first GGD visit, but that wasn't, I mean, I feel like we need to explain a GGD visit because that is also something that's super unique. So the GGD is super involved with children's development from birth all the way through to, I guess, 18. I don't know. I've only been doing this for 6 months. But like I mentioned, they get the first details from the Kraamzorg. They input it. They have an already existing file of baby when you go and visit for your first time. Oh my gosh. And then you go and visit. And this was so hectic because I did not know that this was going to happen, right?
You measure the length and everything, the weight.
Yes, but no, first you go in there, right? It's hot. Oh my gosh, they heat up that place. So I go in there, right? I'm in my winter jacket. It's freaking hot. I am drowning in sweat. Baby, I have my little doektassie, you know, first time mom here. And I kind of go into the little room with the scale and I'm like, hi, we're here. And she's like, yeah, you shouldn't be here. And I'm like, okay, well, where do I go, right? And she points across the room and I turn around and there's this room filled with moms and babies, naked babies, and like these foldable dressing tables, I guess.
Oh, know?
Yes. But I didn't know what this was for. So I see there's these ladies dressing and undressing their babies. And I'm immediately like, well, I guess I need to undress my baby. I don't know. Like, why do they not tell you? This is how it happens. So I'm going to tell you. You go to the GGD and then you go to the little room with the folding tables, right? The undressing folding tables. And you undress your freaking baby. And then you will wait because you will be called upon and then they measure and weigh
Yeah,
your
so
baby.
bring all your muslin, little
Yes.
towels and blankets and stuff with.
Anyways, so first visit at the GGD wasn't very, except for getting to know the GGD, it wasn't super spectacular. And then I think at the second visit, they start the vaccines.
Yeah, they've got a nice little schedule for you about when to do what vaccines. I remember Lizzie, because we were from South Africa and we do travel back, we asked for an additional one for the TB vaccine.
Yes.
Which I don't normally give to kids here. So, and at home, what was it like now adjusting to the little one here? And did the houses have a whole impact, like the small rooms or like the bathrooms? We didn't have a bath in our bathroom. We had to get one of those standing tubs to wash Lizzie in. It actually worked better because then we could stand.
I also had one of those. And to be quite honest, I think in the first 3 months of my baby's life, I bathed her maybe once or twice. I did not bathe her at all, just because I felt like she's so super tiny, and she doesn't sweat, so she won't stink.
No.
I didn't really bathe. Then she got bigger, and we just put her in the normal tub on like a little recliner seat. So I didn't really use the bath on the stand. Trying to think now. There wasn't really any other impacts. I'm trying to think.
No, I also can't think.
No.
What for us was Lizzie only started sleeping through once we put her in her own room. We had a co-sleeper next to the bed, and in the beginning I think it's fine, but then at some stage I wake up because of her, she wakes up because of us, and fucking nobody gets sleep. You know what I mean? Those sleepless nights get worse.
Well, I feel like sleep is such a hot topic for us at the moment. So, I mean, all my colleagues know this. I am constantly sleep deprived. Baby is not sleeping through. She's 6 months old. And up until very recently, she woke up 3 to 4 times a night. Yes. And to top it all off, the last month or so, she's been sick. And then she doesn't sleep well. She can't breathe. She's super congested. And we are up constantly. So she slept in her own room. Then she got sick. She moved back into our room. Now she's better. Now she's back in her own room. I don't really know. We are working, we are super flexible at this stage.
Is there any medicines and stuff that you have asked family or parents to send over specifically for babies?
Yes, but I'm not a medical expert, so don't take this to heart. The only thing I would recommend having on hand is the green Panado Stroop.
Oh, really?
Yes, it has. So Mika is also struggling with teeth at the moment. She'll wake up randomly just screaming, turning red and purple and stuff. And then it's teeth with a whole hand in the mouth, you name it.
Yeah.
And the only thing that really brings relief is that.
Oh, yeah, because we wasn't the paracetamol for us. We used the set pill.
Yes.
For Lizzie, and when she got a little older and could drink, we would use Nurofen, the ibuprofen, or Stinaspril, the one as well. But there's also I can't remember what it's called. It's grape water.
Oh yes.
Yeah, for the
grape water.
Grape water, yeah.
Get yourself bottles full of that. Saved my life. A colleague actually gave it to me at our little baby shower before I went on maternity leave. Absolutely saved my life. Just make sure you get grape water with alcohol and you get grape water without alcohol. Obviously opt for the ones without.
Yeah.
But it's super cheap, and it's in the same class as colic drops, but it's much more potent. And I had my sister-in-law check it out. She's a biochemist, and it's literally just fluid koeksoda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not really, it's
Help
not
little
really
acids.
something. It just helps them pass the winds.
The winds, the gases.
Yes. But I mean, now because at daycare, I think we can we work in daycare? Do we have time to work in
Yes,
daycare?
yeah.
Okay, so daycare.
I was about to ask you. So how long is your maternity leave and
Yes.
how did you organize the daycare?
Okay, so maternity leave is exactly the same as in SA. I was a bit, not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed when I found that out. I had hoped that it would be
It was like
a
France,
bit
where you
long.
can take like a year's maternity
Or in
leave.
Germany, where you get 3 years, that would be great. No, I don't think it would. I think I would go crazy. Anyways, maternity leave is exactly the same as in SA. You get 12 weeks or 10 weeks before, no. What am I saying? It's 6 weeks or 4 weeks before the delivery. And then depending on whether you had 6 weeks or 4 weeks, it's 10 weeks or 12 weeks after. So it depends. But all in all, it's 4 months if you add it together. It's all good, it's all fine, like it's maternity leave. But now you need to come back to work, right? And you need to sort daycare. Daycare is a whole nother issue.
It's not only that there isn't enough daycare facilities, and there's other things like dagmoeders, and so you don't have to go to like a creche.
Yeah, so
there's different
firstly
options.
you have, I think we need to,
so
you have proper like a creche, like a school.
Kinderopvang.
Kinderopvang. Well, not really. No, because a gastouder is ook opvang.
Oh, that's true.
Yes. So I'm not exactly sure what they call it but the general word for it, the word for the school at least, is kinderopvang. Now, this is bigger, this is more, I want to say, formal.
Yeah, it's a building. They are employed personnel.
Multiple teachers.
They're limited.
Lots of children.
Yeah, they've got planned activities.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
This is also super expensive. So our closest kinderopvang was €11.80 per hour.
Yeah, I can't even remember what we paid for Lizzie.
So it's super freaking expensive. Then you have a middle one, but I can't remember, what do you call it?
Is it dagmoeder and gastouder? Are they the same?
Yes.
I
feel like there's a middle one that's a little bit.
We'll add, if we remember it, we'll add it in.
If there is one,
in the description.
Cut. Anyways, and then you have a gastouder, which is like the equivalent of a dagmoeder or a day mother. Is the day mother the proper English word?
I don't know. I want to say daycare, but daycare is more like creche for me.
No, it's not.
So it's a lady that looks after kids in the neighborhood, and it's usually at her house.
Yes.
It's a little bit more informal.
Yes. And it's a little bit, so they are capped.
Yeah.
They can only have 6 kids. The kids need to be spaced out in certain ages, and they are cheaper. And the reason I know this is because that's where baby is. Now, pro tip, might not be the best fit for you and your family, but so daycare is obviously expensive and it's hard to come by. It's full.
It's also all-inclusive. It covers the meals, it covers the diapers, if they're planning activities, those stuff. Yeah.
But now, we opted not to put our baby in daycare. We opted for dagmoeders, for a gastouder. They are also full. They also have waiting lists. So to kind of work around that, our baby goes to one gastouder on Mondays and Wednesdays, and another one on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Friday, I have Mama Day. Okay, so I think this really works out well in my personal experience, because this is a really great example. Daycare, or dagmoeder A, where baby is supposed to be there today, she's sick. And she let us know last night, 10:30, that she is closed today. Now, As a working mom, that's an absolute nightmare because what do? You don't
Yeah.
have a granny nearby. I'm sorry. My
Yeah.
granny or her granny is across the oceans. What do? You call Daycare B and you're like, can you help, please?
Yeah.
So that really works out well for us. I've heard from other moms that the main complaint of gastouders is the fact that they are only human.
Yeah.
You know?
And they're usually one person.
Yes. So they also need a rest day. They also have holidays. They can also be sick.
Yeah.
And if you're a working mom, it can be a little bit difficult to, be flexible with them.
Yeah.
But our current arrangement works out great. They're more than €1 per hour cheaper than the formal creches. And I absolutely love the gastouders where baby is. So yeah, it's a happy story, happy ending, I think.
We had Lizzie in a kinderopvang, and we were lucky enough that one opened across the street from us where we were staying. So we just had to wait, I think, a few more months before we could let her go. But as soon as they put a little note through our door saying there's a creche opening across the road, we're like, okay, can we put her on the list now already? No jokes, like there are waiting lists. So as soon as you can. This was a running joke at the verloskundigen when we were doing our little classes, is start looking for like gastouders of kinderopvang while you're still pregnant.
I was advised to get to get on the waiting lists around 12 weeks pregnant. They told me like get on the waiting list now.
It sounds ridiculous, but
and we did that, and we would have still been on the waiting list at like the proper formal creche because they didn't have space for her for 2 or 3 days of the week. So
it's a problem that I've heard from friends here as well. But we also get government subsidies to help cover the costs for kinderopvang. Kinderopvangtoeslag. That is a major help. It's still expensive, but you don't have to carry the entire amount on your own. Yes. It's dependent on how much you earn as a couple, how many hours you work. They've got a whole matrix
system
to figure it out. It's Greek to me how they work it out. But yeah.
Maybe you can put the link in the
Yes, I will add
There's a link.
Yeah, I'll add the link in the description and stuff. Yeah. It's helpful. Also a lot of the creches also offer like a little calculator on their site, because then they add their rates, etc. And then it
the
calculates
hours and the whatever. Yeah.
But it gets paid at the end of the month, and you have to pay your gastouder at the beginning of the month.
No, we pay hours at the end of the month.
We had to pay up front.
Yeah, see, another benefit of a gastouder.
Yeah. Well, I think it's dependent on like how many actual hours they probably work, but with the creche, because it's
no. So our gastouders work with an average of 60 hours a week, a month.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and then the onus is on you to go and adjust it per month. So let's say in Jan it wasn't a full 60 hours, it was 58. Then you need to adjust somehow,
we get billed a fixed rate. We decide how many days, how long, and then we get billed a fixed amount every month. And we had to pay upfront, so we had to save up the monies to pay for that, and then we get the money back, put it in a savings account to pay out for the next month. It's 5 times.
Well, I mean, you do get the government support, and I heard they passed a bill to make it super, super affordable from 2027.
There were talks that they'll make it completely free, but I don't know if.
No, I think it was passed. I heard it somewhere. If it was, put it in the description.
We will research that for you and put it in.
We're not super well prepared.
We're going to add so many links for this. You're going to be so prepared. But yeah, I think it's probably that's probably one of the problems. It's such a broad topic, and each person has their own individual cases. But besides the kinderopvangtoeslag, there is kindergebonden budget if it's dependent again on your salary, etc. You also get what's the SVB one that you get quarterly?
That is the SVB one.
Is it the SVB one?
The kindergebonden budget.
Yeah. And then you get a quarterly, a small amount from the government as well to help cover some of the costs.
But I heard that gets more the older the children get.
It does. It also increases how many children you have. Okay. And in our previous podcast episode with Jessica, she also talked about having a child with special needs. Then it also doubles.
Yes.
Etc. So there is a lot of support. We'll add the details in the description for you guys to also read up on. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? Any tips that you think moms should know? We've covered a few, like what to bring with from SA, getting your stuff organized before your kinderopvang.
I think we covered most of it. I don't think I really need to add anything. I think we covered a whole spectrum and everything in between. I guess I'll end off with, the biggest lesson I've learned as a mom up until now, and I mean, bear with me, it's only been 6 months, is to be flexible. I don't know whether other moms have also, learned it, but I feel like the more you resist, baby and what baby wants, and just resist the flow of things, the more frustration there is. So be super flexible, just go with it. Being a mom is tough enough. Being an expat is tough. Now you're a mom and an expat, it's a super tough thing. Just don't resist. And leverage your network, The people around you love you. They understand that you're going through a super hectic time, or maybe it's super lekker. I don't know. I think it has both ends of the spectrum, but leverage your people. They know, they have advice. They all have something that worked for them with a certain situation. Ask, they'll give you heaps of, golden nuggets that you can take with you on your journey. And you're not in this alone, I guess.
No. Thank you so much for joining me today, Elzanne.
Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for viewing this. We hope you liked our episode. And please like and subscribe to hear more about living in the Netherlands.
Yeah. Cheers.